You're listening to KSG Podcast. This is a short, crisp, concise, exam-oriented, edited editorial for civil services aspirants. In this podcast, we are going to talk about the Bay of Bengal grouping of nations. The source for the content is Shubhajit Roy's article for the Indian Express. The fifth summit of the Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation, that is BIMSTEC, was hosted by Sri Lanka on the 30th of March. Sri Lanka is the current chair of the regional grouping. Referring to Russia's attack on Ukraine, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said in his address, recent developments in Europe have raised question marks over the stability of the international order. In this context, it has become important to make BIMSTEC regional cooperation more active. Regional security is very important now. It was time to make the Bay of Bengal a bridge of connectivity, prosperity, and security. Now, talking about the grouping, BIMSTEC includes countries of the Bay of Bengal region and seeks to act as a bridge between South and Southeast Asia. Originally formed as BIMSTEC, that is Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Thailand Economic Cooperation in 1997, it became BIMSTEC after Myanmar joined, and BIMSTEC in 2004 with the inclusion of Nepal and Bhutan. Talking about the push in 2016, before this week's virtual summit, BIMSTEC leaders had last met in Kathmandu in August 2013. Despite having been in existence for many years, the grouping had been largely ignored until India gave it a renewed push in October 2016, a month after the terrorist attack in Uri. Alongside the BRICS summit in Goa, India hosted an outreach summit with the leaders of BIMSTEC countries. Weeks earlier, some of these countries had supported New Delhi's call for a boycott of the SAARC summit scheduled in Islamabad that November. India had long felt that the potential of SAARC was being underutilized and opportunities were being missed due to lack of response and or an obstructionist approach from Pakistan. At the SAARC summit in Kathmandu in 2014, Modi said these opportunities must be realized through SAARC or outside it and among us all or some of us. Now let's talk about how it's a win-win for nations. Constantino Xavier, research fellow at the public policy think tank Center for Social and Economic Progress, wrote in a paper for Carnegie India in 2018 that Bangladesh views BIMSTEC as a platform to position itself as more than just a small state on the Bay of Bengal, and Sri Lanka sees it as an opportunity to connect with Southeast Asia and serve as the subcontinent's hub for the wider Indo-Pacific region. Nepal and Bhutan aim to connect with the Bay of Bengal region and escape their landlocked geographic positions. Xavier wrote that for Myanmar and Thailand, connecting more deeply with India would allow them to access a rising consumer market and at the same time balance Beijing and develop an alternative to China's massive inroads into Southeast Asia. For India, the region's largest economy, a lot is at stake. In a speech given earlier, Modi had said BIMSTEC not only connects South and Southeast Asia, but also the ecologies of the Great Himalayas and the Bay of Bengal. He had said, with shared values, histories, ways of life, and destinies that are interlinked, BIMSTEC represents a common space for peace and development. For India, it is a natural platform to fulfill our key foreign policy priorities of neighborhood first and act east. Now, how does this counter China? China has undertaken a massive drive to finance and build infrastructure in South and Southeast Asia through the Belt and Road Initiative in almost all BIMSTEC countries except Bhutan and India. BIMSTEC could allow India to push a constructive agenda to counter Chinese investments and instead follow best practices for connectivity projects based on recognized international norms. The Chinese projects are widely seen as violating these norms. The Bay of Bengal can be showcased as open and peaceful, contrasting with China's behavior in the South China Sea. Xavier wrote it could develop codes of conduct that preserve freedom of navigation and apply existing law of seas regionally. In addition, BIMSTEC could stem the region's creeping militarization by instituting, for instance, a Bay of Bengal zone of peace that seeks to limit any bellicose behavior of extra-regional power. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening. To join KSG India courses and to crack the ICE exam, visit ksgindia.com. You can also get a PDF of this podcast on ksgindia.com. Thanks for listening and to subscribe to our channel.